So far we have seen mm, longitudinal vibrations. Now we will see transfer vibrations, and within the transfer vibration, the important topic is billing of the shaft. So what is the transfer vibration? So for example, we started with the simple spring mass system. So in the spring mass system, we are always giving perturbation, initial perturbation as the disturbance in this direction. So whenever we give this direction, that means this mass is moving to and fro in the vertical direction. And vertical direction in the sense the mass is moving along the length of the spring. But instead of this one, if I give initial displacement like this in this direction, horizontally, then instead of moving up and down, the mass will move like this, in the side way. So the movement of mass is perpendicular to the length of the spring here. So in the same way, if I consider a cantilever beam, so this is the cantilever beam. We have a cantilever beam, and I have some mass m situated on this cantilever beam at here. So if I take this cantilever beam as a massless and this mass is a m, because of this mass, it will deflect like this. So it will deflect like this, and if I give some initial movement like this, or in the downward direction, then it will vibrate like this, up and down. But this vibration is perpendicular to the length of the cantilever, and if it is along the length of the cantilever, then in that case we will call it a longitudinal. But here in this case, this is called as a transfer vibration. And at equilibrium position, this mg is acting in this direction. So at equilibrium position, it is deflected delta t. So this deflection is delta, and we in the beginning itself, I mentioned that the vibrating bodies are having some elasticity. That means this cantilever is having some stiffness. So whenever there is a stiffness, so it try to regain its original position. So stiffness is acting in this direction. So let's say stiffness is k. So this is acting in this direction. So force due to stiffness is acting in the upward direction. So in the equilibrium position, mg equal to k into delta, where k is the stiffness of the cantilever beam here. But we know omega equal to square root of k by m. Omega square equal to root of k by m, or omega equal to square root of k by m. So here from this equation we can write k by m equal to delta by g by delta. So this is a important derivation, because we know omega square equal to k by m, that equal to g by delta. For example, in this case, this is the simply supported cantilever beam. So in a simply supported cantilever beam, what is the deflection? Deflection equal to mass into L cube by 3 into EI. So where here m is the mass and L is the length of the cantilever beam, and E is the Young's modulus. So it's depending on the type of material, and I is the moment of inertia of the cross section of this beam. For example, if it is a square cross section, then it has a some moment of inertia. Instead of square, if it is a circular, then again it will change. So this depends on the cross section of the beam that we used here. So by knowing this delta, we can calculate the omega n. So here, so next move on to the beveling of the shaft. We generally encounter so many shaft situated in the bearings, and sometimes this shaft is carrying some loads also. So for example, I have a pulley like this at the middle of the shaft. I have a pulley like this, and this shaft is carrying this pulley, and this pulley is rotating. This is rotating like this. So in this case, because of this rotation of the pulley and weight of the pulley, there are some vibration in this one. And if the center of gravity of the pulley is coincident with that of the shaft, then these vibrations are very simple to find out. But in some cases what happens, the center of gravity of the pulley is, or the mass attached to the shaft is not coincident with the shaft, or the generally what we expect is when the disc is rotating, the shaft also rotates. I mean, it's rotate within the bearings and it won't bend any sideways. But in actual scenario, what happens? It will just move away from the, it's a center line. So here the center line is this one. This is a center line. So it's just move away from this one, and along with the disc, the shaft plane also start rotating what is that plane? So that plane is the bent shaft. So when the shaft is bent like this, the bent shaft at this instance, this is a bent to the right side. So if I consider at this instant, so the plane is, one line is passing through this center. So line of centers of the bearing, that is the, these are the bearing, one line is passing through the center, and this is the one more line that represents the bent shaft. So this plane, so if I draw a plane passing through this line and this line, so that is exactly our screen. So you imagine that the screen is, rotating. That means the bent shaft itself, if you consider as a body, that is rotating about this axis, this original center joining axis. And this is rotating, the shaft is rotating, and as well as the shaft on the disc also rotating. So for example, if you imagine, it's something like a earth, it's rotating about its axis and also revolving around the sun. So for the clear understanding, I would like to show some video. Actually, this animation is prepared by TM Institute of Applied Mechanics and uploaded in the YouTube. So in this video, where I marked red, I mean they marked red color to identify the plane. So they considered, plane along this red color, and this is rotating initially like this. So this shaft is bent here. So because it's a bent here, what happens? If you observe here, this is shaft is, this is shaft is rotating like this. So if you see the shaft itself, if you consider as a body, this is also rotating about this axis. This axis is a, a line joining these two bearings. And if you consider any point on the disc, so the red color is showing that if I consider any point on here, so the red color line is, tracing that point moment. And now I will consider one more point on the shaft. So this blue color motion is tracing a motion of that particular point on the shaft. Plane, the red color plane as a body, if you consider, that is also rotating, and shaft itself is rotating because the disc on that one is rotating. So this is the system when shaft and disc is rotating. This is the disc and this is center of gravity. This is the, here in this disc, S is the geometrical center, but this G means the center of gravity is not coinciding with the geometrical center, but it is at a distance of E from the geometrical center. And because of that one, the shaft also start whirling. And when the shaft is whirling, it's a geometrical center. When the shaft is at rest, this geometrical center S is on the axis, this axis AB. But when it is rotating, this geometrical center is moved away from the axis to a distance R. So we need to find out the relation between R and E depending on the omega. So this is the phi between the E and R. If you equate the forces by using the Newton method, then we will finally get the equation R equal to. So this is our final equation here. This is the square root. So let's not worry about derivation of this one. This means here E is always leading the R with some quantity, and from the force vibration analysis, here we can write the phi also. So here tan phi, if you can recollect from the previous session, tan phi would be, these two equations are important to solve the problem. And here I would like to explain further, like, we have a relation between R and E, and also we have a phi. How to find out omega n? So omega n we have already discussed. If it is a very long in the bearings, then generally we will consider as a fixed one, fixed beam. So in this case, let's say if it is a small shaft within the bearings, then it is a simply supported one, and subject to the midpoint load here. So in that case, we know how to find out the delta. So when you know delta, omega n can be calculated. What is the formula? G by delta. Rotation of this disc is increased, automatically this R and E orientation also increases, because this phi value is depending on this omega by omega n ratio. So we will see how it changes. Case 1, for example, when omega by omega n equal to 1, that means the shaft and disc system is moving with a velocity omega n. So what happens from this equation? So if I substitute in this equation, what happens? This will become infinity. So tan infinity. So tan infinity means it's a 90 degrees. So 90 degrees. So in this case, so let's say this is a disk, and this is a R. This is geometrical center, and in this case, this is the R and this is the E. There is a 90 degrees between these two. That means at this instant, when omega equal to omega n, these two are situated like this in perpendicularly. So when omega by omega n is very less, very less than 1, that means this denominator term can be neglected. That means it becomes a 0. So when tan phi becomes 0, what happens? Phi tends to 0. So in that case, again, these two orientations, for example, R is up to here, this is the S, and this is a actually G. So it's a it slowly come down, and it's a coincident with this R vector here. And what happens when omega by omega n is greater than 1? So in this case, so this is that means when omega by omega n is equal to omega equal to omega n, that is 90 degrees, and if it is decreasing, if it is less than 1, then it's a coincident with this line. So when omega by omega n is very much greater than 1, automatically it shouldn't be between, the phi shouldn't be between these lines. So that means in this case, what happens? So this is a R vector and this is the S. It's a try to come like this. So this is the E. So center of gravity is a try to come in this way from this point. Actually, the center of gravity never moves. The center of gravity to the distance from the center of gravity to the geometrical center always constant. But what we are trying to say is the orientation of the R is changing with respect to this one. And here, if xi is 0, that means if there is no damping in the system, so what happens? This equation will become R equal to E into. So this is how it changes, and again this can be written as E by plus or minus E by omega n whole square minus 1. So here, what is the R? Actually, R is the distance moved by the shaft from the mean position. So that is what meaning of R here. So if omega equal to omega n, what happens? This will become 1, and 1 minus 1 means 1 by 0. It's becoming infinity. That means the distance from the shaft or The shaft is bending to the infinity. That means shaft is literally failing here because it cannot bend to infinity. So we should always avoid the resonance.